really great to be here with you all. I share the same sentiments that the others that have spoken so far. I share that same sentiment as far as how long of a journey this has been in the core tokens, the core Richard Hart tokens themselves. Like it's just been such a long journey, and I'm just really happy to see that we're still here, we're still holding, we're still accumulating what we can, and I'm just really happy to see how much we've grown over the months and over the last couple years or so. It's really been a long journey. I know I keep saying that, but I know we're on the precipice of witnessing something amazing, not just within crypto, but within Pulse Chain itself. So I'm really happy to be here in this community and seeing everything that's being built here because we've pretty much had everything, including the kitchen sink, thrown at us at this point, and we've managed to show our resolve, our resilience, and just showing how tough we are because being in crypto is not for the faint of heart and it's not for the weak. It's like you really have to have balls of steel to survive in this space.
That's what I noticed with the mechanism is that once ink starts boosting, every other token on the core tokens, I don't know about the rest because I really haven't had the time to be following everything else, but everything interconnected with liquidity pools with ink are going to anyway explode in price. Like how do you say, the tide raises all boats? It's the same thing with the ink.
I really would like to see INC pace, like, if not like one. I think after Hex, I do think at the end of the day, Pulsex will, but I think it's like a 1A and 1B scenario with INC and Pulsex. Like, just as easy as INC could theoretically outperform Pulsex, I think the same in vice versa. So, like, I don't think they'll be too far off from each other. I do think Pulse will lag until the very end, in my opinion. Right around like when people, they get real ambitious or they get, itchy to dump for stables or whatever. Like that could be a scenario too. But I do think with INC, there's so much utility lore with that you have to open like your mind to possibilities of how it could be used and influenced throughout, whether we have different farms or different single side staking stuff. Like all this stuff could be intertwined with each other, but obviously it just has to happen at the right time.
So when Bitcoin makes an all-time high, what happens to ETH? Does it go up or down?
Unfortunately, right now, I don't know. That's a good question. It's been
It
going
goes up.
down, but
No. Against so when Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum keeps on going up as well. So it's the same kind of conversation. When Ethereum goes up, what else goes up as well? Pulsechain, right? It's called
yeah.
Hart's law.
No,
So
are you
like
talking about
that's the
Bitcoin
conversation that we
dominance?
should.
Well, the
Well,
the
Bitcoin
No, I'm
bulk
talking
of
dominant,
the
about price.
PLS
but
liquidity is with stable coins, not with wrapped
No.
ETH.
So Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum goes up, Pulsechain goes up. That's how it works. So it's always
Yeah, but
worked.
it's not because of Hart's law though, which was my
It's no,
point.
it's because of speculation, bro. Like
Yeah,
I've
exactly,
already
exactly,
explained this to you.
exactly.
Iceman doesn't believe that Pulsechain goes up with the greater market because this is his first cycle. He doesn't understand how things work. But when the greater market goes up, as in Bitcoin and Ethereum, Pulsechain goes up too. That's just how it is. And
and
typically, if you look at
and it
every time that Ethereum pumps, Pulsechain does outperform Ethereum on gains.
and why is that? It's all about liquidity, guys.
Have you looked at the wrapped ETH PLS chart?
Yes, I have. You want to know something funny? So the last time we were at like some kind of point on January 8th of 2024, it was like kind of, it wasn't the bottom of Pulse, but that was when we had our first move up. We had about $35 million of liquidity between ETH and Pulse. This time we have what's the liquidity amount in it right now? I think about 3 to 5 million.
So it's
So
around 4 million. Around 4 million. Yeah.
4 million, perfectly. So that move up in volatility in terms of X's is going to be that much more explosive. And then this is what I think is actually going to happen is once we get to those higher numbers, where RH believes that Pulsechain needs to like be at, then he's going to incentivize people to start adding more liquidity to the liquidity pools and rewarding or more ink later down this bull market to strengthen the ecosystem. But until that level is reached, the liquidity factor is going to be low.
There's about 10 million with stable coins and 4 million with wrapped ETH for PLS.
Yeah, cool. The only thing I care about is the liquidity with the assets that actually move up or down, which is ETH, Wrap Bitcoin, Hex, and those tokens. It's just like it's so funny and ironic. I've been going over this stuff in streams, like the amount of money that actually needs to come into Pulsechain to pump like all the cores up to, like 20, 30, 50x. It's very minimal. It's very minimal. And when it comes to cryptocurrencies, like a lot of people don't really understand and grasp like what potential we have here on Pulsechain.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. This is their first cycle, like Iceman, that doesn't understand how these markets work.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
why
fake
he's
news.
that's
My
why
first
he's here.
cycle.
That's why he's here with us learning. We're happy to take him under our wing.
If Hart's Law existed as of 745 days ago when Pulsechain went live, ETH was $1,800. Why hasn't Pulsechain went up with the ETH price and the BTC price? If Hart's Law existed, Mr.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, Mr. Hart's Law guy. So I'll be Mr. Hart's Law. If you actually look at the charts and you look at the comparisons between the two, they're basically identically the same. Same, but different. Every single thing has different liquidity pools. If you want to tie in that conversation, one has been out for 13 years, one's been out for 11 years, and one out has been out for 2 years. So what do you think is going to
No,
be
but you're
like
talking
the
about Hart's
consensus
Law.
there?
So I wanted to say something in that regard, right? When new token launches, right? Let's just hypothetically say we're just comparing Pulse to ETH right now from launch. It's very foolish to do TA on something that's brand new. Number one. Number two, understand that there was a run up and understand that there was a sacrifice. Okay, then you have to take in consideration what has happened on the journey. SEC case, Interpol case, things like this, liquidity getting thinned, whales exiting, right? I get where you're coming from, right? The Hart's law didn't work from the beginning. Why? Because the chart needed to mature to a certain
But
degree.
like KR, this is the thing. January 28th or January 8th to March 8th of 2024, ETH had its first run up. Bitcoin had its first run up. Guess what? Pulsechain had its first run up.
Yes, I totally
And
agree
then,
with you.
but
But he's
but at the
talking
same
about the
time,
beginning of the launch.
I know that's cool. But at the same time, I can say from March 8th or March 8th to January or August, where Pulsechain had an 80% dip, Ethereum had a 64% dip, Bitcoin had a 44% dip. Like, it goes both ways. It goes up and goes down, but people just need to understand like markets moved collectively together as one. And you can say, "Oh, Hart's law doesn't exist. I'm a smarty pants," or you can just like take into context and understand the ecosystem. Like look at PGEC. Every single time it moves up drastically, it's when Pulsex, when P-Hex, when E-Hex, when Ink, when pdai, when atropa ecosystem starts moving up and to the right. It's called V3 or V2 liquidity pools, guys. It's very simple. RH talked about it. Guess what? There's students and then there's haters. Which one do you want to listen to? The student or in executes position, the hater, in terms
The
of
person
Richard
that's been
Hart's
raising the
preaching?
stable.
Well, he kind of called the Bitcoin top at the top. I don't know. He has a token that
Who
did
is he? He's not in the
10,000x.
room with us right now. So you got to speak for yourself.
Richard Hart? Sorry, Richard Hart, my guy. My guy. I
He's
don't know what we're
speaking.
talking about. We're talking about Pulsechain, right?
He's speaking through
So
you now. You're saying who we listening to because Richard doesn't technically talk to anybody anymore.
it
Who
doesn't matter. Like from his
speaking for you?
like how many years of streams did he do? How many years of streaming have you done for your audience?
I don't know.
Zero.
If RH ports, yeah, I mean he's already ported in 5,000 roughly. If he ports in Sack Wallet ETH at a loss, is that bullish?
No, and I don't think that will
He
happen.
hasn't. Hold on. He hasn't ported in 5,000 ETH.
Well, he just moved it from the SEC wallet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. He moved it from the sack wallet, but
Yeah, you can
I don't.
speculate where that's gone, but no one knows.
But yeah, it
Yeah,
is bullish because he doesn't. Let's say he does pull in Ethereum. Of course, he's bullish. He doesn't need to trade it right away. He could just pull it in and sit and wait.
Exactly. This is the
yeah.
thing that people get
If it moves
mistaken,
in
right?
It's a
and
bridge
doesn't
risk. Bridge risk.
trade for another coin,
Execute. Let me ask you something.
that's
Are
fine.
you bullish on Ethereum?
Yeah,
Okay, so if you're bullish on Ethereum, and we've seen what Ethereum has done in the past, it does very even the other day, not the other day, sorry, maybe a week, 2, 3 weeks ago, right? Everyone was bearish, bro. I've seen so many posts. ETH is dead. ETH is this. ETH is that. It's trash. It's dead. Boom. Ethereum does a 60, 70% move up within days, right? Like it took it like I don't know. I think it was 3, 4 days, and it done a 60% up. Very volatile, very up. When the Petra upgrade come in play, we see Ethereum starting to move. One thing we know that is Ethereum is from history that Ethereum is going to go up very much and very quick, right? If you're bullish on Ethereum, then technically speaking, you have to be bullish on Pulsechain, bro.
yeah. No,
He doesn't even
I'm
have to
saying,
do anything
I'm
with
just
them funds,
saying, if
brother.
he sells, like if he swaps those ETH for any ticker on the chain, is that does that fine with you guys? You guys fine with him selling at a loss?
Yeah, I don't care.
No, but
Why
this is
would
the
we
thing.
care?
Why would he sell at a loss?
Well,
But
it's
why would we
technically
care
what.
if he sold the ETH at a loss? If he's buying Pulsechain, why would we care?
Mm,
And the thing is, bro, like to me, it's a thing of how much more percentage does ETH have to do? Is it a 50% upside? And technically, that wallet's back in profit? You
Something
got to
like that. Yeah.
understand, right? Richard Hart is a very smart man in regards to timing the market. Hence why we've not seen no movement from that wallet. You might have
Yeah,
seen some money come out and get railgun, but we don't know where that money's gone.
he bought the top.
it's technically a couple bad plays. I think he mistimed the market. Obviously, that ETH purchase was idiotic. Um, there's a
There's
couple fun.
things that.
There's a couple plays,
So listen,
honestly.
I get where you're coming from, right? You're coming from a perspective of black and white. Sometimes things are not black and white, and there's shit that needs to be done there and then. And maybe it's just me coping to a certain extent, right? But we don't know the actual story. And did he not make a tweet saying he bought the top?
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
There
I
you
Yeah.
go.
think he bought the top because of the whole die situation. So I'm not saying like he did it on like he did it like he was.
Yeah. So you're not saying it was a bad trade? Like he done that because he was
It
trading
was
and
a
there
bad
was
trade. I
alpha.
think he was like it was a forced hand because of the
Okay,
whole
Yeah.
die
Yeah.
currently
situation.
it's a bad trade to a certain extent, maybe.
That's not the question I'm
But
asking. I'm just
we have
saying
to
like,
think,
is everybody
do
comfortable with him selling at a loss?
oh, no, no, but this is
And
no
he's
one's here
he
said
he
anything
hasn't
about him
sold.
selling at a loss, though, bro. And this is the thing that gets
Of
to me,
course, he's not going to say he's
right?
selling at a loss. I'm saying, are
Okay,
you fine?
exactly. So listen,
He'll never say that.
let me ask you a question. Where do you see ETH going to this cycle?
Mm,
Honestly, where do you see ETH going to this cycle?
probably 20K.
Okay, so if okay, now let's look at it from your perspective. ETH goes to 20K. Okay, and in my opinion, that's a very bullish statement, right? ETH goes to 20K. How much will that wallet be holding in Ethereum dollar value?
Probably, I don't even know what that'd be. Whatever.
Well, 7K would be 5 billion. I mean, sorry, 1 billion, 7K.
How much
So
was
then you
the
times it by two, that will be 14
How
K
much was the
Ethereum,
original purchase though?
550 million.
It's 3.3
I
billion.
think. I
Okay.
thought it
Three
was okay.
three point
Yeah,
three billion.
I thought it
So
was 300.
3.3 billion, brother. Okay. Let's just say hypothetically he does nothing with that money, right? And it's all a speculation. People are loud in this community already. If Ethereum goes to 20K, what do you think Pulse Chain is going to do this cycle? And if Ethereum is going to 20K, would you class that as a bad trade long term?
Execute's already said that he thinks Pulsechain's going to do a 14,000x, right?
Yeah,
So then how are you bearish this cycle?
I'm
I,
That's the
not
thing
bear.
that
I
I'm
confuses
think
me.
he's
bearish
not. He's just
2 days.
saying right now he's
Yeah,
bearish.
Yeah, but right now it's understandable to a certain extent, right? Number one, bro, to me, it's very bullish that you're getting the biggest sacrifices on the chain exiting their position completely at these lows. Completely, right? You're seeing a lot of exiting right now on the chain at these lows. Number one, that's burning PLSX, right? That's not even a big feature, right? The big feature is that that's less sell pressure when we do go up. Now you've seen $1.1 million into the chain could technically move the price up a 2x with the liquidity that we currently have. And everyone can say, no, that's not true. Iceman, you was on that space directly. When Richard Hart injected 1.4 million and he blasted it, right? When the first SEC case, the whole chain went up 80-90%. Every single token on the chain went up 80-90%. Why did every single token on the chain go up 80-90% if Richard Hart only bought his core coins?
Well, it's Hart's law, you
There
know.
you go.
That's
Yeah.
So listen to this
hold on,
now.
hold on, hold on.
How much
That's
would he have? Let
hold
me
on.
finish my
That's not
point, bro. Let
Hart's
me
law.
finish my point.
That is not
Let
Hart's
me
law.
finish my
Sorry.
point. Let me finish my point in regards to this. Okay. What happens when a man's got 3 billion and he's injecting even 2 million hypothetically every single day? What happens then, bro? Right? What happens if all we done a simple trade and moved that money over to Pulsechain? 3 billion on the bridge onto Pulsechain.
That's a
Do you know how many
tremendous amount of
speculators
bridge
there will
risk.
be?
Here's the
That's a
Go
lot
ahead,
thing
of
where
Iceman,
you
for a
leverage.
guys
second.
mix up the whole like Hart's law thing, in my opinion. Him bridging in ETH and having ETH just on the chain. You guys think that's Hart's law?
No,
But
no,
No,
then
no,
that's
no,
not
no,
what
no.
also,
we're saying.
if
That's
he
not the
full
point I'm trying
ports
to
it
make
into
here, bro.
shitcoins, that's also
No,
Hart's law.
that's not that.
It's like
Listen,
no.
that's not the point I'm trying to make here, bro. The point I'm trying to make here is, do you understand how much noise that one transaction going from Ethereum into Pulsechain will do and ripple effect across everywhere? You'll have Arkham tweeting about it. You'll have other wallet trackers and whale trackers tweeting about it. And what's going to happen is you're going to see everyone front running that.
Every hacker will be looking for
Iceman, you talk
vulnerabilities in
too
the
much,
bridge.
and you don't even. Is there currently a is there a hack? Has there been a hack on the bridge?
No.
Not
Has there
yet.
been big money on the bridge in the past?
Yes.
I mean,
So what are you
relatively
talking
speaking.
about, Iceman? You just talk shit out of your ass,
Iceman,
your
just
bald-headed
right.
ass,
If there's $3
right?
billion
You look
on the
like a thumb.
bridge, it becomes a very big target
He
to,
wouldn't do
Okay,
3 billion at one time. You're a moron. He would. Anyone that wants to
that's
move that
literally
kind of
what
money
KR said was
would
3 billion.
move it bit by bit across the bridge.
even if he moved a portion of it,
I
bro,
don't
and
even think
started
he's gonna use
slowly
the bridge.
moving it,
I don't
you're
even think
going
he's
to
gonna
get
do
a
it.
lot of speculators who are
You
going
don't.
to.
He doesn't need the bridge. He can literally just make the LP pools on ETH. Like that's why I don't use Pulse Chain. Like if I buy anything, I always buy it on the Ethereum side because I have limit orders on ETH and I have all the exact same coins on ETH. Why do I leave my money on this network when I can just buy the coins on ETH through limit orders and
Yeah.
get proper order execution? You put $1 million into the bid
I
right
get
now
what
on
you're
the ETH
saying,
and shitcoin
but I
thing.
don't think he's going to
You're
create LP
pumping.
pools on
You're hitting
Ethereum.
like negative 50% slippage on
Yeah,
$1
no, I
million.
don't think he's going to do that on
Yeah, but
Ethereum.
then you have to think and take in consideration what other layer one does that.
Yeah, why would he
Everyone.
create a layer one and then and add LP on Ethereum? That doesn't make any sense.
Why?
It's
Because it's
retarded.
safer.
But
Yeah,
if Ethereum is safer and Pulsechain is basically a copy of Ethereum, what does that make Pulsechain?
no, he's talking about the bridge, right? It's safer just to
Yep.
create LP pools on Ethereum instead of bridging it over. But like Richard Hart wouldn't do that. He would bridge over because he wants to market Pulse Chain. Why is there another hex on Pulse Chain and not just a hex on Ethereum? Right? He's not going to create LP pools on Ethereum and be like, hey guys, look, I'm injecting a bunch of Ethereum into LPs, but on Ethereum, not on Pulse Chain. So
I
if you want to
mean,
come and buy Pulse Chain, buy it on Ethereum.
you've had better order execution on Ethereum. For the past 2 years, you can get better
Yeah, but
order
do you think
execution
Richard
on
Hart cares
Ethereum
about that?
No,
for
that's wrong.
every single
That
new
that's
ticket.
wrong. That's wrong.
How would you expect then Pulsechain to do a 14,000x, right? If Richard does not buy anything on Pulsechain, execute.
All he has to do, which he has already done, but just set up the liquidity pools on the ETH side and just obviously buy it. Probably buying it in parity would be the best idea. Having like 50% on the Pulse Chain side and 50% on the ETH side. That way you're not getting like too many crazy arbitrage
Ops.
opportunities. And yeah, pump it on both sides, but keep the majority of the actual liquidity on ETH. That way,
But how you stated, correct me if I'm wrong, that he doesn't need to bridge any of that money in. So how is he going to pump it on the Pulsechain side?
it's simple
If
fluctuation with liquidity pools. After you pump it, like the way you pump a coin properly is you remove as much LP as you can, then you pump,
What do you mean? He just pumps it on the east side.
hold on. So you pump it, obviously, with the lowest amount of liquidity. and then but you also have to leave like some liquidity in, and then you remove the liquidity again. You just do the exact same thing, up, and then you remove the liquidity, bring it to the Ethereum side, put it probably in sell orders, and
I
wait for
get you
people to
guys completely, but
buy
then what
into
was
it
the point of him launching a whole different chain when he could have just launched the tickets
to
on
get
Ethereum?
fees. And building your own chain is
No, what's the point of making your own chain but having only ERC20s backing your value? What's the point? Tell me.
the
Point of
point
him
was to
making
make
Pulse
millionaires
Chain.
and then get the millionaires to give you the $1 million that you just gave them.
No, let him ask the question. Let him ask the question. Because, okay, that's the question. Yeah.
So what was the point of creating Pulse Chain,
Yeah.
right? Which is a separate entity.
Yeah.
Ethereum is the lowest liquidity on Pulse Chain currently. Okay, it's a layer one, right? It's a forked copy of Ethereum, right?
Okay.
What is the point of him only pumping it on the ETH side? How is he going to get people to bridge into Pulse Chain and to use the actual network itself?
What do you mean? Like,
Well,
I don't get
that's
that.
my
Like,
question.
what does that mean? So you think it's easier to send something through a bridge, have a valuable tokens,
Did you not
turn
say
them.
yourself that we need a more valuable bridge, a more TVL on the bridge? Did you not state that yourself, famous?
Yes, but why do we need a shitload of TVL on a bridge when you can have it in the liquidity pool?
From my understanding, the way you described it, a chain is seen valuable with the amount of TVL that chain has. Okay, from which is why you're so bullish on Ethereum, right?
Okay, and
Because
TVL is
Ethereum
also
is the most TVL chain in crypto. Okay, so my question to you is, why would he not bridge that money over to Pulse Chain? Number one, it creates TVL. Number two, it creates speculation where many other people are going to try and front run that wallet, and we all know that, right? And number three, you're going to get more users on the chain. If he just
okay.
created liquidity pools
Good.
on Ethereum, right, people will buy it on ETH side, but then it's a question of, why do they need to bridge in if they
So
bought it
why
on
do we
ETH?
need exchanges? Why do we need exchanges? Why is Ethereum every fucking chain? Why USDC on every chain? Why is everything everywhere but we're nowhere? And the TVL on one side is the same as the TVL on the other side. It's total value liquid, not just locked. It's like, okay, well, your TVL inside is a TVL liquid and the other one is a locked. So when you're going left through the bridge, that's TVL. And when you go, that's also TVL. So imagine you having, because like right now our bridge is literally 20 something million of E-Hex, which is backed by a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars. So $22 million. Is it really $22 million in the TVL? And yes, we do need more TVL to be a market cap of billions of dollars.
Is
True.
Ethereum on exchanges? Yes or no?
Yes. But to your question, you said, why would we have Pulse in Ethereum if Richard wants TVL in the bridge and you
No,
want
my
TVL
thing
in the
was,
bridge?
why
It's the
would
same
Ethereum,
thing.
why would
Bro, right
Richard,
now,
listen,
the bridge has $1.5 million of TVL bridged in of Pulse. We need more. You need more. You need out. You need people. You want people to buy it.
The perfect example of this is, let's say you wanted to show TVL. Technically, if there was a pool on Ethereum with $1 billion of ETH, that's technically $1 billion of buy pressure or sell pressure on the other side, right? Like you can look at that as technically an exchange rather than a bridge, because a
Some
bridge
of
is
it is
technically an
even more
exchange
valuable
with
than
a
the
risk.
exchange. Some of it, but it's not just that. As much as they want the exchange, what's the difference between a pool on Ethereum? There's still 4.2 trillions of dollars that have passed through with Uniswap. There's still hundreds of millions of dollars of daily volume that we could be grasping, that we could be routing. Link does it. All the other coins do it. Aave does it. If you think people are buying and selling Aave just for the fun of it, no, it's because there's opportunity. The same way that certain individuals on this chain, Pulse chain, have figured out a way to use the power of rails in their hands. Well, we can do the same thing to Ethereum.
Here, let's offer Rackham the exact same question. What's the best coin on Pulse Chain this cycle from bottom to top in your opinion? What's going to do the most X's if you bought the Pico bottom?
Man, you're gonna do that to me. All right. Man, gotta be the ink token, in my opinion.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna go with the ink token, man.
Ink is the shit, guys.
I think Ink might do it, but it still needs to bottom. It still needs to go under my my penny target.
Seriously?
Yeah.
God, I like you. Well, I
At the
guess
end of the
it.
day, guys, I think
Yeah,
the most
yeah. I mean,
successful.
yeah. I'll buy it again if it. Anyway, I'm not going to say that because everybody will just jump my crap anyway.
I think that Ink long term is a really good play. Ink and Hex.
I think
Yeah,
long term,
yeah. I just yeah.
So do you think ink can ever go under a penny?
I hope it does. I really do.
Nice.
I mean, that it's not going to bother me. I got no problem. It for me, it's going to be another way to earn interest on long-term stores. I'm not interested in flipping the coin. I don't. I just. I mean, it just. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. I'm good.
Hold on, execute. Do you think Ink's going to go under a penny, like in the next bear market, like or this cycle?
As soon
we
as
hope.
V2B comes
That's
out,
what he hopes.
it's going under a penny.
You do know the chain would be cooked if that happened.
Nah.
Yeah,
Why would it be cooked?
because it will drag down PLSX and Hex and everything it has
Not if you
liquidity with.
use the ink to pump Pulse and PLSX.
Hold on,
Yeah. That's.
what is
I want to
your?
hear about that theory crafting. I want to hear this.
So if you guys are on testnet, there's this cool thing. If you go to the farms, you can click on farm types, and you can click on the V1. The V1 very low inflation rate right now. As soon as we get upgraded to V2B, this other ticker down here, it says V2 farms. They get implemented. When that gets implemented, the APY interest rate on the ink token will ratchet back up to the probably start at around 10,000%, and that will cause another crazy inflation, causing the price to go under a penny. The people earliest into those pools will probably benefit the most and get the most ink. That's where I'm coming from.
Wait, did I just hear that correctly? Did you just
What?
say Ink's going below a penny?
Yeah.
Hey, man, hear him out though. You need to hear him out. Hear him out. I mean, that was a bit wild.
Yeah, if you guys are around during the testnet phase, if you remember the V1 when it upgraded to V2 and V2B, the pools, the farms,
Yeah, but he didn't adjust. He didn't adjust
What
on
are
the
you?
on the
it's a
on
total
the
separate
B
farm.
testnet. I remember.
So the
Yeah, but it's a total.
Are you talking about
no
No,
V4
no, 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 no. I know what he's talking
testnet or
about. I know what
V3?
he's
V3B, the
talking about
master
No,
shift
V3.
contract,
technically, but
the master shift contract
yes, but
dictates everything starts
yes,
at like a flat
yes,
rate, right?
yes,
So the flat rate will be whatever the master shift contract offers
yeah.
the farm from day one.
So
But he
why
would have
was
to
the
edit
ink
it.
price on testnet 5,000 or about $1,000 to $5,000 per token?
Well, I mean, Pulse was $1,500 a token. The prices is not what I care about. I only care about the APY and the
Pulse was
percents.
actually at a penny. Hex was at about 80
What do you mean
cents,
it was at?
and
What do
ink was
you?
about 800.
Pulse was $1,500 also.
You mean yeah, of course, but the shit was running up, but
No, it
we had all
wasn't.
kinds of money.
I
What are
don't
you
look at the
talking about?
prices. I only look at the APY because the percents is what's like in the contract. That's the only thing everybody should look at is like when you look at a contract, it only dictates the
Yeah, but
percent.
what happens? What
It doesn't
happens? What
dictate the
happens
price.
if? What happens if the ownership of the contract adjusts the inflation rate as soon as
That's
it
up to
deploys it?
Richard.
I know. Well, it's not up to Richard. It's up to the whoever controls the
I
ownership.
think it's just the contract.
I don't
That's what
think so.
I'm speculating on. I'm speculating
I
all the
understand. No, but you're right.
when the
When it
master
does
shift
that, it
contract
does
comes
no.
online. I
Yeah,
think
when
it's
it
going to
does
offer
that,
10,000% gains on every single pair that's on that farm.
well, no, it's going to inflate it, but it's going to
Of
inflate it.
course,
But no, he has a good point, guys. If they don't adjust it and they don't do something to it at first, then yeah, it will.
it's going to cause
That's
an
kind of
inflation.
why I was listening.
Yeah, no, because he is actually right. But why'd you say anything?
Dude, he's wanting to go all rogue.
Yeah, he's probably going to edit that though.
Look into the
You know
master
he's
shift
going to edit that.
contract. The
I think
code's
you know
there.
he's going to edit that. Right?
The code's there.
Well, that's one way to get a shitload of TVL on your chain, man. That's one way, man. Can incentivize people to start bridging in their money.
We were talking earlier about like what's the proper way of Richard using the ETH. I put out a scenario of like what I think the perfect scenario would be if it was, if I was holding that majority of the bag. I was
Yeah,
thinking,
hopefully it's going to be a parasitic type of theory because that's the only theory that would be acceptable to me. You put your enemy's assets to work for you. You use their own asset to earn interest that they offer. Take that asset, convert it, and buy up your own supply, just like a remora does with a shark.
yeah, you could do that. I was more or less thinking leaving the majority of the supply in an LP pool on the ETH side, pairing it with Pulse, and then also I didn't say this part, but just having like the majority on the ETH side in an LP pool.
I mean,
Obviously, like
I'm sure
extremely
he could.
low,
Yeah, he could cascade a whole
extremely low,
lot of different options to do these things. I mean, yeah,
but also
I wish
building
he
some
would.
type of.
Sorry, man, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say also building some type of what's it called? Hyper. What's it called? Hyperliquid. Building some type of thing where it's like a hyperliquid
That's
DeFi
ETH, right?
exchange also integrated with Pulse, but having that LP pool there, like that, the majority of ETH just sitting there as the chunk of being both the loan, like the puts and the calls, that way you're getting fees to bridge back into Pulse and bridge back into your own ecosystem. But like having that Ethereum there as the honeypot for doing the leverage trading and everything, that'd be like pretty dope if he could ever build that. I think it'd be a good way of generating fees and getting people to the chain and to whatever DEX or D app that you're creating because people want to use leverage.
Yeah,
As long as it's never going to get hacked, it's going to
I
have the
think.
liquidity.
Yeah, there, man, I do hope that I get to talk with a whole lot of you about different options and different projects and different ways to generate a different, revenue stream. I like multiplying talent, and the way that I treat stuff is I surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And I don't mind being the dumbest guy in the room. I'm perfectly fine with that role. But other than that, I mean, I don't care what the frick people say in the comment sections, on these various posts. I'm dug in pretty deep and I'm not going anywhere. So I don't know what all the dumping bull crap is. And that's a whole nother topic that's going to be discussed tonight on a tweet because, that film crew made a deal with me and they owe me my deal, right? I mean, I did what they said and they owe me my video, so I get to publicly humiliate 6 different, influencers. That was the deal, and they got their proof. It's my turn.
Quick question. Wouldn't a single-sided ETH LP entice selling Pulse? I'm just curious.
It would, but is the cool thing about the Ethereum side is you can put them in like block orders, so he can literally leave like the majority of that ETH at negative 99.9999% pulse. So like if any whale wanted to sell, like they'd be selling at an extremely crazy slippage price still, but the ETH is there for them to sell into. You'd have to do it in like clusters of limit orders, or not limit orders, but LPs, just by setting them in different seller parameters, right? You don't have that on V2 though. You have to have
That's
equal amounts
V3, I
on both
understand.
sides. Yeah. Well, the V4 one that they have now on ETH is like it lets you do clusters, and it's
Oh,
really
yeah, yeah. He should just moon it from the bottom like he did with Hex.
that's only in V2. You can do that.
I'm talking about just like buying it back.
Am I high or low if I think Hex is going to $1 on the Pulse network, or am I going to get yelled at thinking that's ridiculously high?
Bro, I've been the biggest bear of Pulse and Hex, and I said it was going to $7. So
Ridiculously low,
I'm sorry.
actually.
Say what? What'd you just say?
I
You're
said it was going to
low. You're
$7.
ridiculously low.
No, wait, no. Did you say Hex? I said Hex, man. Right?
Yeah, Hex, P Hex. I think it's. I think I'm going all in on P Hex. I think it's going to $7.
Hold on. How do you think ink is going to go to 1 cent, but hex is going to go to $1? Sorry,
I
$7.
I'm
Explain it
not
to me.
giving you my sauce, bro. You got to pay for that
If
sauce.
ink goes to 1 cent, hex is not going to $7. What are you talking about?
He said $1.
No, I said
No, he said
$7
$7.
for Hex. I said 14
Oh,
cents
oh.
for Pulse.
Okay.
But 1 cent for ink, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to call the bottom of Ink. I don't know what the price. I haven't put a top call in. I just think the bottom
Oh,
of
okay.
Ink is
You think
penny.
ink's going to go to 1 cent? So that's what we're at. Hold
It
Prices?
on,
can go
one.
to. It can go up after that. I'm just saying, like I think it's going to a penny first.
So we're what's ink at now? $1.83.
Yeah, like
So you
181 or something. Oh, you got it. Never mind.
so you think that ink's going to go to 1 cent, and which would drag the whole chain down and destroy it. But then
No, it
afterwards,
wouldn't.
hex is going to go to $7. Yes, it would.
No, it wouldn't. You're just looking at LP pools.
I'm looking at what?
If you see V2B get launched tomorrow, let's say it launches right now, right? Launches right now.
V2B.
You see an inflation rate of ink at 10,000% with like 12 new pools. What do? Do you instantly dump it for USDC or do you instantly dump it for Pulse or Pulsex or Hex?
But why do you think there's going to be a 10,000% APR on ink?
Because that's usually what the pools start at.
I highly doubt
What did
that.
the
I absolutely love your poise right now, man.
what did the wrapped BTC pool start at when they launched that and then rugged it within 24 hours?
That doesn't matter, bro. Like you think that so Richard Hart's going to create a V2 version of V2 is what you're saying, right? V2B is what you call it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to create a V2B, which I'm not sure. Like you're talking about, you're getting this information because there was one on testnet. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's not what he's done, bro. I got news
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. So you're basing this off of something that happened on testnet. Okay. Now let's just say that he does do this, which I doubt he's going to do. You think that they're going to restart the ink pool on V2B at a 10,000% APR and literally destroy the whole chain?
Well, it wouldn't destroy the whole
Because if
chain. It would just destroy ink
well, no, it would destroy it. If ink dropped to 1 cent, what do you think happens to PLSX, Hex, PLS?
they go up
How?
because everybody be dumping their ink for Pulsex, Pulse, and Hex. They'd probably dump it for USDC too, but
Well, I can't speak for everybody else. All I can say is I can guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's no chance I would dump. Not a chance.
I don't think there's a chance that there's going to be a V2B with a 10,000% APR ink. I think that's. I think honestly,
the toggle's
I
already on
think
the front end. Go look.
I,
There's a little
I
toggle
think
for V2. Why is there a toggle for V2 with no farms if he's just never going to implement it?
The reason why he's saying it V2B is because V2 is already in place on the V1, so it's just V1.2 right now.
But it's
yeah. So,
that
but why, even if
plus
that happened, why would he after nuking the ink
Yeah, but
because we're
inflation?
that's because
inflation.
that's on the V1.2, not on the
Yeah, but
V2.
why? Yeah, but okay,
But
but
the
why would he
contract
start it at a 10,000 APR
Master
on?
Chef redoes it, because the Master Chef does it. The Master Chef deploys everything and all the stuff. You can't the Pulse X. The Pulse X is the ownership, right? Is not someone doesn't own it. It's burnt. It's gone. So whenever that happens, you can't fix anything. It just deploys the Master Chef contract the way it was originally deployed. So when it originally deploys itself on B2, there's going to be a high IP. There's going to be a high inflation, and then
That's
something
But he
is
can
going to
cut
have
that
to.
instantly. No,
Yeah,
no,
he
but he can
could.
cut that instantly.
he can
Yes,
only
that's
That's what
cut
I'm
it.
saying. Like,
Hold on, he can
but this
only
is what
cut
I'm
it.
saying. Like,
No,
imagine all of this happens, right? And he allows the inflation to stay at a high. Sorry, the APR to stay high. Like that is the most retarded thing he could do. Absolutely retarded. If this V2B happens, he's gonna cut the inflation straight away back to what it is.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I told him.
That's the
Right
most
away.
retarded thing ever.
why would he do that if he wants to incentivize people to be in the LP pools again? The only reason why he cut it is
he
because he
doesn't
doesn't
right
want people in
now.
the pools right
He doesn't right
now.
now.
No,
If he wanted to incentivize people to be in the pools, why did he cut the inflation by
because he doesn't want people to be
10x?
in the pool because V2 is
Exactly.
coming out soon.
Okay, I think that's all nonsense.
Well, that no, it's better than PDI going to $1. But that's interesting. Actually, they said that because V2's coming soon.
Do you want people to be out of the pool if you're going to launch new pools? That way they don't get wrecked. Because everybody in that V1 farm right now, if V2 farms come out tomorrow, it's going to be the exact same thing. Everybody that's stuck in those pools, they're going to get retarded amounts of slippage when people, because those pools are going to get emptied and
Yeah,
everything's going to go over to the V2.
bro, there is no way he's gonna nuke ink to 1 cent. That is fucking
Well,
retarded.
he's
Not
not
one
going
cent.
to do it. Just
I
the
think I don't think
holders are going to get
I don't think
1 cent.
I don't think his calculations right, because it would only, even if it did the same time, it would only inflate at 50% compared to what it is now. So like I think it would go back to like maybe 40-50 cents, but
Bro,
it doesn't mean that
Rackham's
it's
in the
not
room. If he
valuable.
dumped all of his holdings, it'd go under a penny. I'm sure of it.
It doesn't matter if he makes new farms, as long as he doesn't increase inflation, there won't be a huge ink dumpage, right? And sure, there'll be a 10,000% APR on a new farm for like 10 seconds until people dilute it, but that's how those farms work. Like as soon as they get filled up, they'll be back down to whatever they're supposed to be.
It's a slow grind down though, and I think he's gonna He's going to inflate, like he's going to keep the inflation rate high because he wants to incentivize people to be on V2.
Well, no, it's going to be the same thing it was before, man. So
No, but he wants to
Just another
incent. He
slow
doesn't
grind.
want the high liquidity, right? Like
Maybe
because he
he'll want
wants
the
to
high
pump the
liquidity.
price.
well,
Yeah,
it's
at the
not about
top
the
of the
high
market.
liquidity. At the beginning, the incentivization was a lot of Pulsex, Ink, Pulse. We chose to put in, right? Like, I just see the potential of people buying up the coins that are in the V1 and having to, because if people pull it, how the fuck are they going to put more money in the? We're going to start buying it up. So the low liquidities are going to force a high increase in price, and then the high price is going to relate to the Ink token being much more valuable. So it'll dump. But I don't
He's
think
not going to. I
I
don't
don't
think he's
think
going to do this until the
I don't
price is
think
much higher.
Hexecute is just calculating the outcome of what he's talking about properly. I think he's just generalizing like, oh, okay, it's gonna go down and
And
It
then
could
it's
you're
go
gonna
lower than
and you're
that.
assuming that he's going to roll it out like soon. Like, why would he not do that when the price is higher?
I think
well,
he needs to roll it out. He
that's gonna
might,
cause instant dumping.
it's, I'm coming up with two different things. So he could be telling people to, exit the pools now because he's going to pump it, which I don't think he's going to do because the ETH price isn't high. So I think he told people to exit to get ready for the V2. And V2 also, or V2B also incentivizes pooling and one other voting structure through PLSX. So I think he's going to incentivize people to actually use the tokens again.
Oh no.
So that's what I'm
Oh
thinking.
no. And then Pulsex is gonna get really valuable
Yep.
because it does the same thing he does.
Yep.
Oh no.
Pulsex will get valuable
Oh
again.
Ink
no.
could also be the
Give it a use
voting
case.
token. They both have the same code.
Yeah, I know, but they do two different things, and I don't believe that Ink controls the whole dex. It's Pulsex that controls the dex.
Yeah. The ink token
I think Ink
technically,
is for the
it,
rewards, like how much rewards
there's two different voting
they're
structures,
given.
if I remember.
They're both technically coded the same, so they do the same thing. But it's just both of them do two different things. One does one thing and one does the other, but they're both cake. Like when you think about it, like when you think about what actually cake is and how it was distributed and how you have to get it and how it was created, it's like it's technically they're both cake. It's just they're separated now into two things,
Yeah.
giving each one its own ability to be its own thing and not have to be together. So one affects the other. Because I do believe pulse hex will be the more useful tool. Like why incentivize pulse pairs? Incentivize pulse hex pairs. What the fuck?
The voting structure, I remember it doing, or at least what.
Well, it was proposals though.
Yeah, no, but the way that I'm talking about, like the structure. So the structure was the PulseX would vote on like the party token. Remember that? So you'd stake like up to 10 million PLSX, and then you'd be able to like print your party token or something else, and then the incentive token was technically if you ever wanted to have a farm listed on PulseX,
Well, no,
you
you
would
can
need
make a
like,
single side. You can make
yeah,
a single side with Pulse X and receive the inflation, which is ink.
but you're mixing up what I'm talking about. But
Which
yeah,
one are you talking about? Then?
I don't know. You just completely erased what I was talking about.
But what were you talking about? I thought you were talking about that.
The two, like just the way it was set up on testnet. That's what I was talking about.
But that's the way it was set up, and you had the harvest button and everything for like a day and a half.
Yeah, but I'm saying like one voted for this, the other one voted for that. Actually, I don't
I'm
even
not
think the
sure.
incentive token had a vote.
No, it was only Pulse X, and then
Yeah,
they stopped it because we had stupid votes. People were voting stupid shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Richard really trusts our voting skills.
Well,
He may have a DAO in name only or never a DAO. It's hard to say. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was additional utility
you
for
do
Ink at
understand
some
the
point.
voting doesn't actually matter. It just gives it a reason for somebody to buy it. You don't want to have a token that has no use case forever.
It depends what you're voting on. If you're voting about money, it could matter.
It
No,
doesn't,
anyone could use it, and anyone could use Pulse X to vote
bro.
to use it as a voting
If
mechanism.
Richard doesn't want to vote to pass, it's not passing.
I don't think he's going to dump the price of Ink though. I think the play is for him to pump the price of Ink to a silly number, and then when he deems it's the end of the bull market, and he's done pumping up the price with the sack bag, should he choose to do that, then he can increase inflation to create stability for prices that are then high. But why would he do that? Why would he reduce the price of Ink or get people back into the farms until the prices
Why
are
would he
high,
rug the
until he
farms?
destroys.
I don't know why you guys think that Richard's going to take that ETH and put it on the bridge when that's the number one thing of causes of attacks to your chain. Like, makes no sense. He said it so many times in the past that that's the stupidest thing to do is to just have money blocked on a bridge
Bridge
and just
risk.
have it like like
He doesn't have to leave it as ETH. He can
Has he
turn
not
it
done
into
it in
other
the
things.
past,
what do you mean?
famous?
Yeah,
Famous. Has he
bro.
not done it in the past?
He literally bridged like 20 million over. What are you guys talking about,
I
man?
know, bro. This is what I'm
Oh,
This
talking
is
about.
ridiculous.
who
He
bridged over
controls the
20?
bridge too. So
Wait. Who bridged over
Richard,
20? How do you know that?
Richard did
How do you know that?
Oh,
because it come
it
from
was
the
an
sac.
AI. Don't worry, famous. It was
Whoa.
an AI.
Whoa.
It come
No,
directly
but how
from
do
the
you know that?
sacrifice wallet.
It
How
was
does that
AI.
even
It
from
was
the
an AI,
sacrifice wallet?
famous. It was an
From the
AI
Uh,
bot
sacrifice
that
wallet. Can you show me the
magically bridged in.
transaction? Which
yeah, the same
coins? Where
wallet
from this
that
wallet?
We
the
got
same
some.
wallet,
We got
the
somebody
same
with their
wallets.
hand up.
Yeah, the same wallets that we sacrificed to bridged in multiple times. One time about 15 million, and then the other time about all in all it was about $20 million they've
Bro,
bridged over.
you're literally
So to,
talking about peanuts. That's just exit liquidity.
yeah, but you guys think he's going to bridge all of the money at once? He can bridge in millions at a
Bro,
time.
I
Like
don't
you
think
guys,
he's
like
going
there's
to.
bridge risk. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Like was there bridge risk when he bridged in 20 mil?
Yes.
Was there? Yeah. Well, why
Of
wouldn't he do
course,
it
there's
again
a
then?
risk because
Oh
it's just
yeah,
more risk.
but yeah,
It's
of
just
course
more
it's
There's
risk.
a
bridge risk,
risk
but
in
that's ridiculous. It's
everything.
ridiculous to
No,
say
but bro,
he's not
Panos,
going to
they
bridge
think
over
no, but
funds because there's
Panos,
bridge risk.
they really think that all the money's coming.
No, but I'm not saying
hundred
that.
and seventy
No, I'm
thousand
not saying
fucking
that. Someone
Ethereum
said
is
he's
coming
not going to
over.
bridge anything
No,
over
but I
because of bridge
believe
risk.
there's.
That's retarded.
Yes,
He's
of
already
course.
done
Why
that.
not?
But the statement, I don't know who said it, was he's not going to bridge anything
Famous
over
said it.
because of bridge risk.
No, it was
Do you
Iceman.
understand?
You
Iceman. He
guys said
said
he
it.
was going to
It
bridge
was
in $3
Iceman, the
billion
Oh,
fun
of
man.
ETH at
Iceman
one
said it. That
time,
makes
and I
sense.
said
It was
Iceman, can we
$3
retarded.
change
billion
the
on the
name,
bridge
please,
is
from
bridge
Wait,
Iceman
risk.
to
what?
Fun Man?
Is the wallet that he bridged and pumped about 15 mil from.
It's this
I watched him do it.
DCC8, right?
Separately wallet.
Yes, DDC8. Yes. So whoever, it was Iceman who said that you can't bridge because of bridge risk. He bridged
Yeah,
over
because
15 million.
yeah, but you guys
Well,
said him bridging
Iceman.
$3 billion over would be
No, he
great
didn't.
publicity.
No, he
Yes, you
didn't.
did. You said it would
No,
be
he didn't.
great
Iceman,
publicity for the
shut
chain.
up.
KR said that. That's
Iceman,
bridge
shut
risk.
up for a minute.
Bridge risk.
Chill your silly face down for a
Hey,
second.
Iceman, can we
We
change your name
said,
to Fun Man, please?
yeah, we're going to change your name to Bum Man.
You said he'd bridge
Okay,
over all the
Iceman, we
funds at
said
once because it's
he would
great
bridge.
I
publicity.
second
Someone said he
that.
would bridge all at
KR
once.
said he was bridging in $3 billion. I heard it.
Okay,
Yep.
I never
I
said he's going
never
to bridge
said that he's
$3
gonna
billion.
bridge in $3 billion at once. Not once did
I
I say
said
that.
he would bridge. He could bridge in money, and Iceman's
No,
like, "There's
he's
bridge
gonna
risk."
top blast. He's gonna wait to the
I got it,
very top.
KR. Listen, man, hold up. I got it. Okay, he's going to bridge in $10 gazillion. Just say that Rack said that.
Yeah, so
Bullish.
no one in their right mind would bridge in $3 billion at once. He
Well,
could
that's
bridge
what
in.
KR said, though.
He could
So
bridge in 10, 20, 30,
I
50
literally
million
stated that he could
at a
bridge in
time.
2 million a day. How long? How much? If he had $3 billion on ETH, how much he could bridge in 2 million a day
hey, Gabriel.
For like 2 years.
We can hear you.
for two
Hello, hello.
years?
4 years.
There you go.
Yeah, we hear you, Gabriel.
Good evening. So, some simplicity here. What is the simplicity of just the OA buying E-Hex at a slow pace and then variably increasing or decreasing depending on crisis situations in world stock markets and things like that? And how does that scenario play out?
Well, he literally said that he doesn't give a shit about E-Hex, right?
Okay, I'm
Like he's made it very clear. E-Hex is like his bastard son that he didn't want. He took it behind the shed and shot it in the head.
okay.
That's E-Hex.
Okay, so that's a great emotional response, and I understand he did say these things, but I'm just saying from a technical standpoint,
I
how does that play out?
I kind of gave the technical answer earlier. When you look at the two ecosystems, you gotta divide them now, right? When E-Hex is just on Ethereum, technically, when you put a dollar into that, you're putting a dollar into Ethereum or USDC or E-Hex, right? And then if you bridge it over to Pulsechain, then you can add value. But if you take $1 or one ETH and you bridge it into Pulse, you're technically pumping the entire ecosystem with that $1 or that one ETH. So if you're going to like buy E-Hex, know that you're only pumping E-Hex or you're only pumping Ethereum. You're not pumping Pulsechain unless it's coming into the network after. So
Where'd you send it, Panos?
if he has that bag of ETH or something and he wants to buy anything, in my opinion, he would just buy Pulse because it's $1 into the whole chain rather than just $1 into E-Hex. That's the technical answer, in my opinion.
Well, isn't the largest liquidity with E-Hex is PLS, right? Or so we still see
I
some
think it's
benefit.
ETH, isn't it, on the Ethereum side?
No. It's there's only like $430,000 or so on ETH and liquidity for
Okay,
I think pretty much all the pools. Yeah.
yeah. I like I said, I think if he doubles down and he does do the E-Hex thing, in my opinion, that's just him being a bad founder because you can't do one thing and then do another thing.
The biggest pull is with Ethereum. There's over $1 million of
He
liquidity with
after
it.
that tweet, there was like I think it was exactly $700 million got nuked off the E-Hex chart, including liquidity. So that if you go look at the like how much ETH was sold into those liquidity pools and everything, it didn't even touch Pulse chain. That was just people selling E-Hex, and then they just like it looks like they just kept it in ETH, and then they never brought it anywhere. Most of them, like the big whales that I tracked, they literally went to Coinbase and crypto.com. It looks like so they just sold and left the ecosystem.
There's $570,000 in just one pool with PLS on Pulse Chain. So there's more.
There's over $1 million with Ethereum.
But
I
take
think
into
it's the
consideration,
I get
right?
the point though.
When people, let's just say hypothetically speaking, the chain pumps, and a lot of people miss the bottom or miss the. I'm just saying hypothetically speaking.
Mm.
The chain pumps. People are going to be looking at the cheapest price coin because psychologically they're going to think that that's still got more of a chance, right? People on Ethereum most probably will buy E-Hex. As Ethereum moves up, guess what moves up with Ethereum harder than Pulse Chain does? E-Hex. E-Hex will do well, without a doubt. Even if we did, right? Hypothetically speaking, me too. I don't believe we're going to see a new all-time low.
come on,
But
Ben.
even if we did, because there's whales capitulating, ain't that bullish for the price in the future? Ain't that what we want? People capitulating at these low prices?
I thought we wanted to make a million millionaires.
Get the
Yeah, you
Jeets
can only
out
do that
now.
when you get rid of the whales.
Get the Jeets out right now so we can have higher prices in the
I think
future.
he can make 1,000 millionaires, maybe 10,000 millionaires. I think so, with the math that I was doing the other day.